Joe, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, I am trying to figure out what is. Whew, there we go.
There you are.
I don't even understand why. We do a rehearsal and everything goes great, and then all of a sudden, what happened? Like, this is why we get on early. Like, what? Oh, I can't even. Hello, Kiana. Hey, hello. Hey, Mr. Irwin. Hello, Luke. Hey, Sylvia. Not Siri. Sylvia. Siri popped up. Hey, Tim. Hey, Stephanie. Hello, everybody. Thank you again. This is Real Talk with Will Woman Grinding, as we do every Thursday at 12:30 Central Standard Time, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, when technology allows us to be great. We are here bringing you different guests, different views, in different industries. Last month, we did Social Worker Awareness Month. We talked all things mental health. The month before that was about wellness. And of course, we kicked off the year in January about what we are manifesting, affirming, and what we're doing for 2021. WON1. And this month, we are kicking off with all things related to legal, and particularly in business, because we promote entrepreneurs. Anyone who's promoting a business is about promote, connect, and collaborate. And that's what we do for all sisters in success, from the north, the south, the east, and the west, all across the nation. And with that being said, information makes you powerful, but the execution of such knowledge makes you more powerful. And I have those subject matter experts to come on here so that we can not only gain the nuggets and make jewelry from it, but be able to actually act on those things. So when you have a business, you start out like you're so excited, like, I'm going to name my business. Ooh, 2 for 2, let's go. That's what we want to name our business, or whatever the case may be. And it's golden. And then you go on the internet and you check it out to make sure no one else is having it. And you're like, okay, I'm good. So you get started and you're promoting your business and everything's great. You made t-shirts, you got cup holders, all that good stuff. Then all of a sudden, you happen to look on the internet and you see your business, the name of your business. And you're like, what is happening? And you go and you click on it, and there's a whole nother business with your exact same name. What do you do? Because you didn't even see it coming. It kind of knocked you sideways. And you're like, how can they do that? Who said? And you're at a loss. Well, that is what we're talking about. I tell you guys, I'm always on Clubhouse, right? So things are changing in Clubhouse. About, I think, a month ago, they opened it to where people can actually do clubs. And, you have a lot of influencers and different people on there who actually have businesses on there. And then they brought it onto Clubhouse to collaborate, promote, and, to enhance. It's another social media platform to enhance their businesses. But then what's happening when everyone was allowed to open up clubs, we started seeing duplicate names of those clubs, those big clubs who are already have their own platform outside of Clubhouse. And it was like, can they do that? And this was the thing. They were separating it like by space or something, or, just really little things. And if you wasn't paying attention, you'll still think it's the same club. Well, guess what? That's the same example I just gave about the business. So what do you do? How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your name, your brand, who you are, your business, your income? How do you do that? And so I was like, man, this would be great, because what I found out is we didn't have enough experts to tell us how we did it. And of course, I knew about a process only because I started the process way before Clubhouse. And I only found that out because I was following one of my other mentors that's in the same industry. And I was like, okay, well, let me see what this is about, because it sounds like this is what I would want to do, because I wouldn't want to build something up for somebody just to take it away. So I reached out to the attorney, and she schooled me, she educated me, because I was lost like crisscross applesauce. And I was like, okay, but she was so down to earth, and it was just a really great relationship from the start. Now, mind you, we hadn't even met each other. You know, we just talked on the phone. And to be really transparent, this is the first time we get to see each other face to face. Like, hey. So it's all about, you know, the magic that you make by connecting. And I cannot emphasize enough, we talk about connecting. Your net worth is connected to your network, no matter what you do. Even if you're not in a business and you're just doing a 9 to 5 and you're just in corporate America, not to say a 9 to 5 is bad, but if you're just doing a 9 to 5 and you're grinding in that, it's still about connection in whatever you're doing, in whatever industry you're working in. So connection. You just can't be an island and stand alone. And this is why, because you form relationships. And I tell you, relationships is a new currency. And so she educated me, she schooled me. And so I took the knowledge and I passed it to my sister to the left, my brother to the right. And I say, hey, well, I know someone who can get you more information, and, you know, and don't break the bank. So I said, Joe, I sent an email. Hey, would you like to be on my show? Because I think this is important for people to understand. And she, without hesitation, y'all, she said yes. And I said, Lord, thank you. Thank you for connecting people that are so cool to say yes. And here we go. I want to introduce to you all none other than Miss Jo B, and she is in Mountain Standard Time. So I'm not going to remove myself out of the way and let her introduce herself. But I am just so very grateful, Jo, for being here, and take it away.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. And yeah, this is the first time we've seen each other. So it's kind of cool. It's like, wow, we've worked together for a long time. So I am an attorney, and one of the areas I do, one of my main areas, is trademark law. That's how you and I met. I have been an attorney since 1993, which is a lot of years now, and I'm not going to say exactly how many. The biggest thing about me, I think, as an attorney is I am very down to earth, because my idea of the law is it's a tool, and we use that tool to improve our lives. So I have a lot of people come to me who are scared about the law, and they've had a bad experience with an attorney. The law is intimidating. They've talked to an attorney who wants a lot of money and then is maybe critical of them when they can't pay that kind of large legal bill. And I want to make the law something that people can use. And I mean, I use it, we all use the law. And I'm just grateful that I can take my knowledge and help people. And trademark is really important right now, because last year was one of the biggest years the trademark office had, because all these people are at home, or they've lost their jobs, or COVID has scared them because someone has been sick or died, and they said, that's it. I am starting my job. I am going to go for it. And they file a trademark. So now is the time to go ahead and get those trademark applications in. On the personal side, I am an avid and passionate horsewoman, and have been for more than 45 years. And I love it. I live in beautiful northwestern Nebraska, which most people don't know about. I'm about 2 hours south of the Black Hills of South Dakota, and it's just stunning land with lots of wide open vistas and pine trees, and it's gorgeous. So thank you so much for having me here today, and I look forward to helping everybody who's watching.
Thank you so much, Jo. Truly appreciate it. So she had, like, everybody has a passion, right? Everyone has a hobby. So horses, law. Who would have thought, you know? But it's what makes her happy. And I believe that everyone should have it. But like Jo said, there were 48 million plus people out of work last year in 2020, right? It was a year that broke everybody's bank, not everybody, but a lot of people's bank, in reference to not a positive way, in a negative way. And so it forced people to take action. But I will always emphasize to each and every one of you, do not let yourself get into your bottom before you have to take action. Don't hit the bottom before you have to take action. Be proactive beforehand. But in the interim, like Joe said, the trademark office blew up because they took action, because they say, like, we got to do something. And I'll give you an example. Ⅎ𝒃𝓁, right? It's crafts. People do a lot of different things and they put it on Ⅎ𝒃𝓁. Well, we needed masks, right? All of a sudden, masks were blowing up. People who knew how to sew, but they didn't do it on a regular, it was just like a hobby or something, and they did it if they needed to, were putting these masks together. We're putting bling on them. We're making them designs and selling them. It became their income. And then it started to grow. So then it became their business, right? And so you see how that worked. Out of necessity, entrepreneurship came back in 2020. So entrepreneurship lost its way. Back in the day, you know, that's what it was. When you had horses and wagons and buggies, right? You go to the feed store. You had the feed store. You had the baker. You know, that was what it was. Everybody had their own. The women did canning, so they sold their canned goods and all that. Entrepreneurship was booming. And then the world progressed. Then you start having companies and then corporate, you know, and then it changed. Then we lost entrepreneurship. It went from here to here. Now it's a new trend. It's going back up to here. And I think it's very promising, but we do need to be educated. And so with that being said, I want to start off with Joe and asking we're talking trademarks, everyone. Trademark, what it is that means, and then intellectual property, what that means in reference to your business, you know, like even your business name. So I am Ultimate Sky Travel. That's the name of my business. My brand, who I am the travel vet, right? And so two things, but still me, right? So I wanted you guys to understand.
Oh, you froze on me for a minute. There you go.
I want you guys to understand what that means. And so, Joe, when I came to you, I was clueless. I was just like, hey, I saw my mentor, you know, she's put her name out there, and I don't know what trademark is. I don't know anything. And so what is the legwork that, you know, as an entrepreneur who is seeking to trademark their business name, what's the legwork? What's something that we can do before going to an attorney?
So I think the good place to start is what is a trademark, because people get all of this confused. And you just gave the perfect example. So a trademark is your brand. It's a name, a logo, a slogan. Law and Order has the chunk chunk sound trademarked because people know that is Law and Order. Mm-hmm. Tiffany has the color blue trademarked because people know that is Tiffany. So it is your brand. Now, lots of times that can be your company name, but it doesn't have to be. Google, I believe, is now owned by ABC Company. But whether that's trademarked or not, that's not really as important because Google is who we know. So the first thing is you really want to think, what is your brand? Because that is what you're trademarking. What the trademark office registers is the brand you're using in commerce. So you know, we all know that if you want a domain, you can go buy a domain and sit on it for years and years and years, basically, and not do anything with it. That is not the case with a trademark. You have to use that mark, whatever it is, or you're not going to be able to get it or keep it. So one of the things to keep in mind is what do you want your brand to be? You know, if it's a name that really strikes you in the night, write it down. So that's one of the big things is what do you want people to know you by? And then two, how are you going to use that in commerce? So you can't just pick a name and say, hey, I'm just going to trademark this because I like it. You have to use it in trademark. You have to be selling something with it, whether it's a good or service. So as long as you have those ideas, then someone can come to me and say, hey, I really have this idea. I want to, I don't know, sell chocolates that are named Red Horse, but I don't have anything else done. We can still work with that. We can do an intent to use application, but you're going to want to know what's your brand, and then you're going to want to know, you know, what are you going to do with it in commerce? Those are the two main things.
Wow. And I'm going to tell you guys, I didn't have a clue. You know, so you guys have hit me at Carmen San Diego, right? I was like, oh, that's cute. That's neat. Let me tell you what Joe said. Oh, She said, that's
No.
she said, because it was already one of those branded names already, no matter what it was in movies or whatever. And I'm in travel, it was still a name that was going to be associated with that brand. So I couldn't touch it. So then I was like, no. So I said, okay, that's the drawing board, and she was very patient, very patient with me. And so then one of my battles was like, hey, why don't you be the travel vet? That's like, let me see how that works. I did a poll with people and they were like, yeah, that we like that. And then, as y'all saw, I started tagging it, and Joe even recommended, like, just see how it works. And so finally, after so many months, I said, Joe, I found it. Travel vet. And so she went, and so let's go there. So once you find your name, what is it that you do?
Yeah. So a lot of people come to me and say, I did a search. My name is fine. I just want to file the application. And it's not that simple. I wish it was. The trademark office considers 13 factors when looking to whether they should allow a trademark or not. So first of all, it's not automatic that you're going to get your trademark. And the final decision is with the trademark office. So they look at all these factors, and they're all concerned with confusion in the marketplace. We have 45 different classes at the trademark office. So you can have Dove chocolate and Dove soap. They're in different classes. But the trademark office would not, allow like Dove cocoa. That would probably be too close. And what I do when I do a search, like when I was doing your search, I'm going to look for the exact phrase. But I'm also going to look for similar phrases. And I'm going to see what classes are they in. Is the mark still live or is it dead? If it's dead, why is it dead? Did the trademark office have a problem with it? What's the problem? Can we overcome the problem? So there's a lot in that search. It is not just a matter of going to the trademark office website and saying, oh, my name's fine, nobody else has it. Because there could be a name that's just so close that it's like, yeah, no, your chances are really low. I will still file an application if someone wants to try it, but that's obviously money, because once you file one, you don't get your money back if you're denied. That money's gone. Nobody refunds it. So, it's a matter of looking and seeing, is it the similar name? Are we going to have issues? How are we going to overcome those issues if we do? So that search is a super, super important part. And of course, once you do the search, you do want to file as quickly as you can, because you want to make sure that that name is still available. So that's why the search is so, so important. It's not just a matter of going, yeah, it's okay. That's a long process just to make sure that there isn't something similar.
Wow. Dove and Dove this. Okay, so that makes sense. And I'm telling y'all, you can do this for free. You can do this for free. You meaning you as a person, not Joe. You. So let me make that clear. And the reason why I say that, because anything that you do, you can do for free. You can start your LLC up, you can do all that stuff, or you can go through someone else. So I did my LLC and everything by myself. You want to know why? Because guess what? It wasn't nothing that was going to take any additional effort to do, but it's different with trademark. I even did my second divorce by myself, believe it or not. I became my own attorney. Yeah, it was really tough. But with trademark, when I looked at that, I was like, see, this is what got me right here, really. I'm going to tell y'all, transparency. It was like when I did the application, it was going to be a certain amount. I think it was like $400 or something like that. And then it was like, but if you mess it up and it's rejected or whatever the case may be because of something you did, you resubmit the application, it ain't free. You got to pay the same amount that you paid the first time. So that was like, a different thing. So talk a little bit more on that, Joe.
Yeah, I have, you can do it for free. And I'm a very transparent person as well. Some people do it and they get it through, and that's great. Then there's the way other side where I literally had a client one day say, I'm going to do it myself. And there is a filing fee. So you do have to pay a federal filing fee on top of legal fees. He said, I'm going to do it myself. And I got an email about 5 minutes later where he said, I'm in tears looking at this application. Please do it for me. So, there's the whole search. Then there's actually doing the application. And it's all electronic, but I have to tell you, there's a lot to read through, which I know it because I do it so often. It's the same thing, but looking at it can actually be intimidating. I mean, the law is intimidating. It shouldn't be, but it is. And so you've got to do that application. When you do it, you have to pick the right class, you have to put the right description, and you have to create specimens or examples of using your brand in commerce. So it's not a matter of just kind of putting your name in and saying, I want this word. You know, if you're doing a logo, they're going to ask, well, do you want to use the color with it, or do you want to disclaim the color? And there are words you need to disclaim. And it's a lot more complicated than it sounds like. And you know, I have also people say, well, I'm just going to go LegalZoom and do it there. And I always tell people two things. One, I get clients from LegalZoom because it doesn't go through. And two, LegalZoom is not a legal site. There is a disclaimer that I'm telling everybody to read because it literally says on there, we're not giving you legal advice. As you know, when somebody hires me, it's a flat rate. And I talk to you all the time, you know, about, you know, this is your name. This is how the process works. Once it's filed, people can email me. Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? And it takes 4 to 5 months to even get it assigned to an examining attorney. So it's a long process, but there's a lot involved in it. And then once you file, the trademark office can look and go, you know what, I don't really like your description. Let's do it this way. And they file what's called an office action, which sounds all scary, but it's not. It's a simple office action. Then I talk to the client. I talk to the examining attorney. Let's tweak this, tweak that. So there can be a lot that goes into it. You know, there's about half of the applications that are filed are actually rejected. So if you hire someone like me, you have someone who has experience and can talk you through it and can also be that front person. So one of my jobs, I think, is actually being the person that, you know, I get the notifications from the trademark office. So you don't have to open your email and go, oh, I got an office action. Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. You know, I look at it and go, oh, it's a simple one. Or, oh, they had a problem. They think this and this. And so we've got to, you know, let me see if we can make this argument. And that's part of what my search will usually do, is show us that problem. But if there's a bigger problem, I just talk to you about it and we figure out what to do. So, you know, there are a lot of things in life you can do yourself and you look back and go, I really should not have done that. And that's what I think is my role. I'm a small business person. It's just me. I am a true solo lawyer with a solo, entirely virtual law firm. And I have to tell you, I actually get really excited when my clients get their trademarks because it's such a wonderful feeling. So, you know, there's a lot more to it than just clicking a few buttons. And even the form itself online, it really looks like it was designed 20 years ago. So it's not like a new slick website or anything like that. And you'll get little red triangles saying, you know, go back and put this in, and you don't have to put that in. And so there's just a lot to it that I think my job is to take that off, take that burden off people, take that anxiety off, because you need to be running your business. You know, this is my business. So that's why I think it's better to, you know, to hire an attorney whenever possible. With something like this, it's not as simple as people make it out to be.
Oh, I so love that you hit on it. Y'all, like I said, she dropping them gems. I'm making my jewelry. I already finished my bracelet. Okay. So when she said that, you know, you have so much to do as an entrepreneur already. The plate is, oh, let me go and say platter. Your platter is already full with all these things that you have to do, because you are the jack of all trades, but you're not the master of them all. You know, you're the accountant, you're the payroll person, the administrator, the virtual assistant, the social media, the marketing, you're that. So that's your baby. You know, your business is your baby. And like Joe, she's a solo. A lot of us are solo entrepreneurs, you know, starting from the bottom and working our way up to the top. And it's precious to us because it's our baby. And when you have your baby, would you trust your baby with a stranger? You know, or would you yourself, who don't know your baby's sick, and you say, okay, well, I'm the subject matter expert. I know how to fix my baby. I'm gonna make. Oh, you got gas? My baby got gas, so I'm gonna do this for my baby, because you went to school and you got your MD, and then you specialize in babies, pediatrics. No, you don't do that. So why would you do that with your business? You would, I mean, just think about it. Really, why would you do that with your business? Unless you got money just to chomp away, or the time, like Joe said, but if you have the time to do it, okay, that's a different story. But most of us, when we trying to be meticulous and make sure we don't get that kickback, so we won't have to pay the fee because we ain't got that money like that, we gonna be like, it's gonna be a slow process. So invest in yourself. This is where we get that investment piece is investing in your business, meaning sometimes you got to pay out. And in this case, attorney, paying out, getting your trademark and getting it done right. So Joe, the other thing I was looking at on Clubhouse is everybody has this, they have their name and then they have TM. And I was like, oh, they got a trademark. How cool is that? Like, ooh, so they say like, nobody can take their name. Tell us what you told me about the little TM.
Yeah, the little TM. First, and I forgot to do this at the beginning, and nobody's asked me a question. This is all legal education. I'm not giving anybody specific advice, and I always have to do that little disclaimer. So yes, the TM. And you just actually brought something up real quick about investing. I always tell people, yes, you have to pay an attorney fee and a filing fee to get your trademark, but it's an investment in your business because it increases the value of your business to own your trademark. And it's a business expense. It's tax deductible, generally speaking, once you talk to your tax expert. But anyway, so the TM, I see this all the time. TM does not confer any legal rights at all. You can put TM after anything you want, and that doesn't mean you own the trademark. And you probably see it everywhere. That's just it's just the letters. The way you know someone has a trademark is at the end of their name or whatever it is, they have the R with the circle. That is a registered trademark. That means it's gone through the whole process. The trademark office has approved the registration. They have their trademark certificate. If you look them up, they'll have a serial number and a registration number. So I lots of times will see a trademark because I do a lot of equine law behind horse products, and I go do a trademark search and there is no trademark application. There's no registration. So don't assume just because you see the name that with the TM that someone owns the trademark. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is trademark rights in the US are first come, first serve. If you're using a mark and you've used it for 20 years and someone files a trademark application, you may be able to oppose that, but depending on the specifics, you're only going to have your rights for your little area where you've been marketing. So it's better to have the actual registered trademark and get that R in a circle. That's what you want. But don't assume everybody with a TM has it. And if they're on Clubhouse, you know, the question is, are they using that mark in commerce? Can they apply for the trademark? So that's another thing. I can't just say I like the name Red Horse and I'm going to trademark it. I have to use that in commerce. I have to show and prove that I'm using that and someone is buying my service or my good. So you can't just say I like these words, I'm going to trademark them. That doesn't work.
Absolutely. And so I was like clueless at what that meant. And so Joe educated me. And so like lately what I've done is I started like I did my own like little, what do you call, signature branding with the travel vet. And I have my picture and then I do quotes. So now when I'm doing quotes, I have the travel vet with my quote, with my Ⅎ𝒾𝓃, my logo on it. And so I'm posting it on my social media platforms and stuff like that. And so that's one of the things that I started using as a part to increase and show the trademark company that, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing. And so on all my social media platforms, you'll see the travel vet. You'll also see me, you know, if I'm talking in travel, I am the travel vet. I will tell you that, you know, and when I go live, you know, so you can see it. And so those are things that you could do to show that you are using that name. So when they're looking at like, are you, and they can see it. And, but something else that Joe said, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it, if you're not using it, you can lose that. So remember that.
Yes. Yeah, you know, it can be diluted. So if you get your trademark and then don't use it, you have to actually, between the 5th and 6th years, you have to prove you're still using that mark. So I always tell people, like, what you're doing is perfect. You're using it everywhere. So it's out there, it's out there, it's out there. And everybody, once they get their mark, they need to keep using it so that the trademark office says, oh yeah, you're using it. You know, you don't want to use it for like a year and then just put out websites and brochures and all that don't have the mark on it, because the trademark office will say, you know what, you're actually not using it. When we file for an application, I ask, when did you first have the mark and when did you first use it in commerce? And technically you need to have something showing the trademark office, if they ask, that you actually used it that day in commerce. That's how specific they are. And when I file the application, there's also boxes that say, I am filing this. This is the truth. So, you're not engaging in fraud and all of that. So these are really, really good specifics that people don't even realize that they need to have.
Yes, I love it. So my next question for you is, what's the difference between TM and intellectual property, IP? I've been hearing that thrown around a lot. And you know me, so what does this mean? I don't understand. So I'm not going to go to nobody who not have that degree behind them. And that's a difference. Don't go to that, what they call them. If they didn't go to the Holiday Inn, don't go to the Holiday Inn lawyers. It's the real one.
So IP is intellectual property law. It's a big area, and it generally has 4 categories. It has trade secrets, patent, copyright, and trademark. So trademark is your brand, name, logo, slogan, something else. Copyright is a creative work. So people are given the copyright as soon as they create something. So I write an article, I own the copyright. However, if I'm going to want to enforce that in a court of law, I need to file that copyright registration with the Copyright Office, different than trademark, and get the registration approved. The Supreme Court just came down about a year or 2 ago with that decision. So if you're going to write a book or do a DVD or something, copyright and getting a registration through the Copyright Office protects that. Then there's patent law. I don't do any patent law because that is actually its own bar in itself. You have to have an undergraduate science degree in certain areas of science. I have a psychology degree and they don't consider that one of the areas. Patent is for an invention. So you invent something and basically you're saying, I invented this, I want to own the patent to that. And then trademark secrets are things like, you have non-disclosure agreements, for example, the recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken or for Coke or, something like that. You don't want anybody else to get it. Those are the things. So IP, it's what it sounds like, intellectual property. It's something that's kind of been created up here in your heart. So those all kind of mixed together. And then there's little things like, if you may see celebrities and somebody paints a picture and they say, no, you're violating my rights. That's because if you're a celebrity, you may have special rights because your image is on so many things. So there's all these little kind of tributaries of intellectual property, but those are the 4 main ones: the trademark, copyright, patent, and then trade secrets.
Oh, I love it. This is great information. So I don't know about y'all. I got my notes down here. I don't know about y'all. Don't be calling me. Y'all better get your own notes. So I bought it on here. Do this. So my last question for you, Joe, and I really appreciate you guys because I know we only do this 30 minutes, and for your respecting of your time, Joe, we're going to wrap this up. Trademark state versus trademark federal, because I, being in the club, heard somebody was like, oh, trademark state is so much cheaper. You can get your trademark and, there you go. And they was like $15, $20. I was like, that ain't what I paid. I'm like, what? So,
yes.
Yeah.
So you can get a state trademark, and those were really more popular decades ago when somebody had a little maybe mom and pop shop or a restaurant, and they operated in that city and that's all they did. So that makes sense. You want the trademark in just that really tiny little geographical area. But nowadays, most people are countrywide and some people are international. So even if somebody says, well, I have a horse business in Massachusetts and I go do a little bit of New Hampshire, or I do all of Massachusetts, I suggest we do federal because chances are they have a website online. And they may think of expanding. So, the federal trademark gives you so much more protection that there's only a limited area where I would even suggest somebody even think about a state, because that's the problem. Is if you do your state trademark, say you're doing some sort of a restaurant or something, you say, I'm just going to do this little area, and then you decide to expand, but somebody has the federal trademark, they may have it for every other place but where you are, and so you can't expand. So getting the federal trademark just makes a lot of sense in the long run. And as I said, there's even international trademarks. Those are great if you're doing a lot of work internationally, but those are very, very expensive. And those are very technical. I do them, but those are like a whole other level because they are a lot of money and you've got to go through a lot of process. And right now, I think Canada is taking almost 2 years to issue trademark registrations. But yeah, I think it's better, generally speaking, to get a federal because then you're covering the whole country, and chances are your business is going to cover the whole country because we're all connected online, especially since the pandemic. So many people are like, yeah, I have a little online business, I'll send candles anywhere. So that's why the federal is generally speaking better than the state trademark. And that's why it costs more. It's a broader area.
Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh. Great information. Absolutely love that information. So as you guys, I'm getting the travel vet trademark. I'm down to the last of what I need to do. And since I started the process back in October, it has changed since then. Things things change constantly. And I go back to say that because if you're doing your own, you probably wouldn't know what Joe knows in reference to those changes that's happening with the trademark, industry, in that field. So you can do an application, and then later on down the line, you might think you can do it again, but then sometimes change. So it's like it's her craft, it's her thing. She went to school, she got education, she invested in her education, and now she is now using it. And like I said, it's like that Holiday Inn commercial where you go in and you feel like you that professional, but you're really not. So really invest in the real deal and not the shortcuts, because we have learned and stories have proven what shortcuts can get people in business. And it's not really good. Just like you got that plumber who's supposed to be certified, and then you have the inspector come in and say, where's the credentials for the plumber who did this job? And then you can't produce it. Oh, you got to rip it all out. Now you got to pay more money. So it just makes sense to do it the right way. So if anybody who's currently watching, and thank you again for watching and for staying with us. If you have any questions, I am looking at the chat and I can see the chat. I got it on my phone here too, because sometimes it don't pop up over here. So if you have a question, hey, Positive Glow, hey, Deidre. Deidre said great information, Joe.
Glad I can help, because it is very confusing. It's even confusing for attorneys who don't do trademark. So it's very confusing.
Oh, you just hit on something. So it's a specialty, just like medicine. You have your MD and then you have specialty. So if you want a pediatric doctor to go through an ortho clinic, it's going to be very confusing because they went to school for pediatrics, not orthopedics. So same deal. So it's not a one size fits all.
Yes, attorneys, we specialize in different areas, and for example, for state matters, I can generally only do Massachusetts. That's where my law license is. But I can do all federal stuff. So I form federal nonprofits. I do trademark, I do equine law, I do estate planning, contracts, business formation. But for example, I don't do divorce. So if you came to me and said, "Hey, Joe, I need you to help with my divorce," I'd say I would have no idea where to start. So I will send you off to a colleague. And that's the thing is, as attorneys, we learn special areas because then we can help people. And if you came to me and said, "Joe, I have this question," it was something I'd never heard of before, I'd say, "Hey, let me check into that and get back to you," because the law does change all the time. And I tell people I would rather check law and say, "Okay, this is how it has been, but there have been a lot of changes. Let me just do a quick search and make sure and get back to you." And because we're only human too. We need to. There's only so much time in a day. But yeah, this is one of the areas that I really am passionate about, because as I said, I love helping, especially small businesses, because it's so exciting when you can go through this process. And then you have the freedom of being an entrepreneur. Everybody likes that, but especially women, to have that financial freedom and that time freedom, whether it's with kids or traveling or whatever, that's something that's just wonderful to have. We're very lucky that we can do that and have our own businesses.
Awesome. Listen, that is being authentic and true, the passion that she has just to help others in small businesses, because we in it, but we don't have all that support that we
Mhm.
need. Not big industries, not like corporations. So we need
Yeah.
all the help that we can get. So I truly appreciate you, Joe. I appreciate you for your time, because you couldn't be doing anything else, but you decided to say, "Hey, Janae, I can come on here," because time is money, y'all. It is. Time is money.
Yep.
And it's something that you just can't get back. So I really do appreciate you. And just like I appreciate you guys out there. You probably at work or doing what you're doing, driving, and you could be doing anything else too. So I do appreciate you. Hey, Miss Velocity. So closing out, Miss Joe, I'm gonna tell you guys this. I'm gonna tell you something to that separates Joe from a lot of others that are in the same industry. Well, trademarks average about how much, Joe?
For legal fees, the high end I have actually seen is $3,500 a trademark.
Mm.
That doesn't include the filing fee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the filing fee is $350 per class.
Per class. Per
Mhm.
class.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, what I found out that Joe, when she says she's genuine about helping small businesses, she does payment plans, you guys, because she understands you are doing so much to get your business started. You're paying this, you're paying that, and you may not even know what it is that you need right there at the time, but you don't want to shove all that money out up front, because you got to do this, you got to do that, but at the same time you don't want nobody to take your name. She said something, a foul to intent, right, Joe?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
mentioned that. So there's things that you can do, so don't just not do nothing, and don't let money be the obstacle. um, Call, see what you can do, and see what she can do. And that's exactly what I did, because I was like, I'm not sure what I want. I mean, when I tell y'all I was lost in the sauce, y'all. Lost. And I just don't want you guys to kind of go through what I went through. A lot of the books that we get is from people who have done the things that we're trying to do. I'm not saying trying, that we are going to do, but they don't want us to make the same mistakes, which is why they wrote the book. And yes, they're getting paid for it, but they didn't have to take the time to write the book, because they didn't know if the book was going to sell or not. But they did. And so we take note from those who are millionaires, and we learn, are billionaires, and we learn from their craft and learn from the path that they have walked, to see what the things that they have done. So again, that's being self-development into yourself. So this is something that I did. I knew what I felt like when I started, and I was like, man, it got to be a better way to do this. And so here's the information that we're sharing with you, because there is a better way.
Mhm.
And so take it. And we're going to be doing, I'm just not going to do Joe. Every Thursday, it's going to be somebody different, same industry, but somebody different. So you can hear different points of views. And even Joe, I said, Joe, you know anybody else is in your now, who does this? We can. My thing is now complete and not compete, because we all have different networks, and we can be in the same industry with the same industry, but we can still share ideas and leverage one another and resources to get to the next level of success. And Joe is saying, yeah, let me see who I got for you.
Yeah, because and we all work with different people that we just kind of click with. I mean, a lot of my work is in the horse industry, and people get a trainer or something, and it just doesn't click. And then somebody else that's teaching the similar thing, they click with them. So I like to click with my clients, but yeah, there have been some clients who either haven't liked my style, because I'm qualified and all of that, but I am very down to earth. I don't wear a suit and all of that. And, I'm not nasty and everything. But that's just my style. I've been in court. I've been a litigator. I'm at the point in my life where this is how I do it. And that works for some people. But if it doesn't work for others, there are other attorneys for them. It is about relationship. It's got to be that relationship both ways. So, and there are plenty of people who are trademarking and attorneys and all of that. And yeah, when it comes to payment plans, I tell people, if you can pay it in full, great. If not, talk to me and feel like you can talk to me. I'm a small business owner, so I've got to make money too. But you shouldn't be afraid to talk to somebody about that. We should be able to put that aside and say, hey, for small business owners, we need to figure out how can we come together and make this work. because then if we all come together, we're all working to help each other. And I think the world would be a lot better if we actually focused on that.
And that's why she's my trademark attorney. Hey, hey. I'm about the relationships. Hey. So thank you so much, Joe. Again, listen, where can they find you? I know it's ℠𝒁 Legal LLC, but where can they find you?
Well, thank you for having me on. This has been fantastic. People can find me. My website is ℠𝒁HorseLegal.com. You can email me at Joe, J-O, no E, at ℠𝒁HorseLegal.com. That's usually the best way to get in touch with me. You can call me, but emailing is usually the best. So those would be the two ways. I do have a Facebook page under ℠𝒁Horse Legal. And then if you really need to call me, my number is 617-991-8905. But as I said, usually the best is email because I can set time aside and write you back. And I have things I can send you to really explain the trademark process and all of that. So that's probably the best way to reach me.
Awesome. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you for your time. If you have questions and you want to know more information, you can DM me, private message me. I don't want you to put it in the chat. I want you to private message me. I will get Joe's information if you missed it. If you catch no replay, write it down. You can do it directly. But if you want to know about my process and what I'm doing with her right now, firsthand experience, I don't mind sharing whatsoever. Y'all know I'm straight up. No chaser right here. Okay. So I'll tell you for sure. And then I'll tell you what else I've been seeing in different social media platforms in reference to this experience as well. So that's your call to action, y'all. Get your information, get her information, replay it, slow it down, whatever you need to do, or just say, Janae, hey, can you go and send that to me? I'll do that too. All right. As always, it's been fun. It's been great. We will see you guys next Thursday. I already have our guest lined up. So it's booming with Real Talk from Real Woman Grinding. We're planning ahead. We're thinking big, and we're sharing the love of information in the journey of business and what it takes to get you there to your next level of success. Again, we love you. There's nothing you can do but love us back. What we want you to do is, at the time, y'all know I'm a hugger. So if you can't, that's fine. But just imagine raising your hands above your head, crisscross your arms like applesauce, wrap your fingertips around your shoulder blades, and give yourself a big old-fashioned squeeze and consider yourself virtually hugged and loved. Wash your hands, wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart, stay COVID safe. Bye, y'all.